We all know what Ringo did. He exploited a neuroplasm that was impacted by an Attica State Prison neuropsychiatrist and called it ordinary street use of narcotics, and claimed that the quality of life of the AIDS victims was significantly depreciated by the death of John Lennon, and only I was to blame. It never deserved any scrutiny, but when his vulgarians began swinging and poisoning and murdering and capitalizing on this argument to murder innocent bystanders and threaten in Gestapo fashion the family of the accused, one has no choice but to answer. The first issue is the way the argument is structured to protect the people who released AIDS. But because argumentation is in favor of the victims, that it represents their will in his message. This doesn't seem to make any difference to anybody. The fact that I had nothing to do with John Lennon's murder was obvious from the start. The tainted argument that his drug culture caused me to overlook certain particulars about the perpetrators is a Russian espionage attack. Gail Burstyn was a Soviet Jew whose image and vestige appears on the cover of a 1979 Robert Fripp record. So Ringo's gimmick was partnered up with the people he claims assassinated Lennon all along. And it gets very grisly. You start talking about the value on the stock market of Lennon's blood-bespattered spectacles. This is all theatrical too. It's to defend the people who did it. You don't need to have the insight that exists from the attempts I made to get help and to warn. Going to number 5 station when I was being attacked, moving from the neighborhood, being left deaf and battered and very confused, being pushed around and manipulated by the Israeli community, being run down and targeted by racial predators, or set up mysteriously and suspiciously and illegally by British rock stars with their venomous derogatory pitch from the Zappa and Israeli community of David Geffen to get the picture. But there are archives that show that they ignored my attempts to get help from an Israeli violence community that was seeking revenge for Auschwitz, meaning that they were genocidal. Ringo seeks to overpower this fact, to put me in the incompetent position of a helmsman and knock me over. It's an absurd theater operation originating in international guerrilla theater, Europe. And to say that John Lennon was a victim of it is a bit of a stretch in light of the evidence that he was the mastermind of it. So there's a problem with Ringo Starr. He's defending the people who did it and saying that the victims are thanking him for it.